Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make an igloo house. It's been quite some time since I've done a biome related build, so hopefully you guys really enjoyed this one. If you do like it, please show the video some support by slapping that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Plus, if you want to build any more things by me, check out the card system, check out the description below. I'll be leaving links to loads of videos and playlists in both of those two places, including some more biome related builds. So if you like this, odds are you'll like all of the other stuff that I'll be linking in there. But if you want to make the igloo house, here's what you're going to need. Grab yourself some block of quartz, grab some quartz stairs, and grab some quartz slabs. We're going to be using loads of other stuff later on, but these are the main three materials. And by the way, if you want it to be a bit more authentic, you don't necessarily need the quartz. You could use snow, or you could use white wool as well if you wanted to. Completely up to you. It's just that with the quartz, you can shape the igloo a little bit better, but it's not necessary. Well, once you've figured out where you want to make it, and once you have your materials, I definitely recommend making it in this little snowy climate. Something similar to this is where it definitely fits in. Well, once you've figured out where you want to make it, you're going to want to kick off your igloo house with a row of 4 block of quartz coming directly up from the floor. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to take that 4th block, do an upper right diagonal from it, and go up by 1. Then do 2 upper right diagonals, that's 1 and 2. Then go right by 1. Do an upright diagonal and go right by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then do a bottom right diagonal, go right by 1. Do 2 bottom right diagonals, that's 1 and 2. Then go down from that second bottom right diagonal by 1. Do a bottom right diagonal and then go down until you eventually connect to the ground. So you want to have a shape which should look a little bit like that. And that is as wide as your igloo gets, by the way. Well, once you have that, what you then want to do is you want to, coming outwards from the shape, so 1 row outwards towards you, but inside of the shape, you want to add a layer of block of quartz that sits perfectly inside of the shape that you've made. And this layer of block of quartz does not want to connect at the corners. So you just want to have a layer of quartz block that sits nicely inside of the shape that you've just made. You just want to have something which should look a little bit like that. And once you have that shape, you then want to add an additional layer of quartz coming towards you from that shape. So add an additional layer of quartz coming towards you from the shape that you've just made. So you want to have 2 rows of it in total. Well, once you've done that, you then want to do roughly the same thing once again. So we want to still coming towards us, and 1 row inside of the shape that we've made, we want to add another layer of quartz. So you just want to have something which should look, you guys know how this looks, it's just going to sit inside of the shape that we've made. We just want to have something which should look a little bit like that. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Well, once you've got that taken care of, we then want to do the same thing again, 1 row outwards and 1 row inwards. We want to add another layer of quartz. So just inside of what we've made, just add another layer of quartz. And it's actually getting quite small now, isn't it? We're actually condensing down this igloo, and we're getting smaller and smaller, and eventually it's going to lead to the entrance. So you want to have this. But what you then want to do is you want to, starting from the right hand bottom block that you placed, so the first quartz block that you placing this little row of quartz, you want to go inside of it and run alongside of it by 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. You then want to do 2 upright diagonal, or 1 upright diagonal from that 4th block. And you just want to have something which should look like that. And you want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So coming to this opposite side, we want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do an up left diagonal to connect up like that. And that's perfect. Well, once you've done that, we then want to come to the inside of this shape, and again, 1 row outwards, and we want to trace along the inside of the shape. So we just want to pretty much do the exact same thing that we've done a few times already. You guys know how we do this. We just want to 1 row inwards and 1 row outwards, just trace along that shape like that. And what we then want to do is we want to take the shape that we've just made, and we want to take the top 2 corners, and we want to add a quartz inside of the top 2 corners like that. And once you have that shape, what we then want to do is 1 row outwards and 1 row inwards. We want to do the same thing again. So we just want to have this, except it wants to connect at the corners this time. So connect that at the corners. You guys know how to do that, right? See? You want to have something which should look like that. And then for the final entrance part of the igloo, you just want to, again, it's pretty much the same thing, we just want to trace along the outside, yet inside of the shape that we've made. So we just want to have a nice little entranceway that will look a little something like that. And that's a perfectly respectable looking igloo, except we do want it to look a little bit fancier, and don't worry, it's going to look a lot more curved, a lot more rounded a little bit later on. So once you've got that taken care of, we now want to come to the back of our igloo. And we want to take the back part of the igloo and we want to extend it backwards by 6. So we want to take every single one of these quartz blocks and extend it backwards by 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we want to do that with every single one of these quartz blocks. So as you might imagine, this might take some time, but we're going to hang in there and we're going to do it together. So we want to take each one of these quartz blocks, extend them back by 6. I wish that I didn't place all of these blocks in the wrong position. It really does, it really does unnecessarily add to the amount of time on this tutorial when I just keep placing all of these blocks wrong. I swear that these tutorials would be half the length if I actually managed to place every block where it was supposed to go. I mean, I'd even settle for like a 5% fail rate, but it seems these days that it's like the time taken destroying blocks could just easily be funneled into building anything else. If you took all of the time that I spent destroying all of the blocks that I placed wrong, we'd probably have enough time to build a skyscraper. But that is what you want to have. You want to take that middle shape, the largest part of the igloo, and you want to drag it backwards by 1 row. Or by 6 rows, I should say. My apologies, by 6 rows. Well, once you've got that taken care of, we now want to basically do what we did up front, but at the back. So inside of this very large back shape, we want to 1 row outwards and 1 row inside of this, we just want to have our igloo. We just want to add another layer of quartz, and we just want to, again, 1 row inwards and 1 row outwards in relation to the previous shape. We just want to have our igloo shape. So we just want to have a nice little curvature. See what I mean about these destroying these blocks? We just want to have this. And once you've done that shape once, you actually want to add another layer. Can you remember when we did that on the front? This is the same layer that we had to build twice. So we just want to add another layer of quartz onto that. And that's wonderful. Perfect. Well, once you've got that taken care of, we now want to add another layer of block of quartz inside and outwards. So we just want to trace along the inside of the shape, and we just want to make it a little bit smaller, yet a little bit bigger. It's weird how that works, isn't it? We're making the shape a little bit smaller, but we're making the igloo bigger at the same time. Well, once you've added that layer, we now want to add an additional layer. So we want to add an additional layer of block of quartz here, and this is going to be the layer that we also shrink down a little bit more. So once you've added that layer of block of quartz inwards and outwards, we then want to add our layer of 4 block of quartz on the insides of that, and then we just want to add a block of quartz right in the corner. So we just want to add an additional 4 block of quartz on the left and right, and then we just want to add another one in the corners like that. We then, for the next row, we want to, again, 1 row outwards and 1 row inwards, we want to have our row of a block of quartz that sits 1 row inwards and outwards, and it wants to connect at the corners like this. So it just wants to connect at the 2 corners like that. So it's one shape. And then for the final part of this igloo, we just want to fill in the empty space that we have left here at the back, like that. You just want to fill in that empty space, and that is as small as your igloo gets. And once you've got that taken care of, you have your igloo. And whilst this isn't a bad looking igloo, and this is how your igloo would look if it was made out of snow, or if it was made out of any other material, any just block material, and it looks quite good, doesn't it? It doesn't look too bad at all. I'm not knocking it, it looks pretty decent. But we can shape it a little bit better and make it a little bit more igloo-like. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the quartz stairs, and we'll just focus on the left part of the igloo first. And on the corners, we're just going to add some quartz stairs. So we just want to add some quartz stairs on the corners, and you'll be able to see where I've added them. Oh, we should do this side as well. You'll be able to see where I've added them. And it'll just look a little bit more rounded on the left hand side to the right hand side. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? It just looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Can you change that? Absolutely. It doesn't have to look like that. If you don't want to, you can keep it the same, but I like adding the quartz. So why don't we add it on the right hand side as well? So we'll just add it on the right hand side. You only want to add it you obviously only want to add it where it makes sense. You don't want to like add quartz stairs like on here. It's just the corner blocks. Like, we don't want to have one here and one here, obviously, but you guys can figure that out already. You'll be able to see instinctively where you have to add these. It's basically just where you have those two quartz blocks touching diagonally. You'll just want to add a layer of quartz stairs, or not, that will just like round things off a little bit. And there we go. It just makes it looks a little bit bigger as well, which is a benefit of this. It makes it look a little bit bigger. Plus, it just makes it look igloos are obviously not just like square structures. They're circular. They're rounded. They're curved. That's the point of the igloo. It's all like compacted snow, and it's like a dome. That's exactly what it is, and that's what the stairs help a little bit. But as I keep saying over and over and over again, there's no reason why you couldn't make this out of snow, and it would make sense if it was made out of snow. I might even make one out of snow just to compare them, but I do believe that we've now added all of the stairs on here. And what you can do once you've added those stairs, and by the way, it looks great with the stairs, we can now add, if you like, some slabs. So we could add like a slab at the top of the entrance here, for example. And then on top of this row here, and here, and can you see where I'm adding all of these? And here, it's basically just on the top, where the stairs kind of like connect to the top of the igloo. You may just want to add a layer of block of quartz slabs, and it just makes for a little bit of a better curve. I've actually made a mistake there. We don't want to add two layers there. We just want to add the one layer so it like builds down gradually. So we just want to add the layer of slabs there, and we don't so much want to add any slabs on the side, although you definitely could if you wanted to, but it does make the shape look a little bit weird. Like if you added some here and you added some here, I mean, it might actually add to the shape a little bit. I don't hate that, but I prefer to just keep it like centered around the middle bit. Otherwise you start messing around and it makes it just look a little bit strange. I quite like it as it is, but you can add a little bit more if you want. So that's obviously the front top part done, and now I'm going to come to the back middle top part, and I'm just going to add layers of slabs. It just rounds it a little bit. It just makes it a little bit less flat, and as I keep saying over and over again, it's just to the dome's benefit. It just makes it look a little bit more dome-like, a little bit more rounded, and that's definitely a good thing. You can add more, you can add less, you can do whatever you want, but I quite like it as it is there. I think that the dome looks a little bit bigger, and it definitely looks ever so slightly more curved than it did before. Well, once you have that taken care of, that is pretty much the entire dome taken care of. Why don't we take care of the next most important part of the dome, which is the surrounding scenery for me. Something that draws you to the igloo is definitely the scenery surrounding it. So we're going to grab some dark oak wood stairs, we'll grab some netherrack, we'll grab some flint and steel, we'll also grab some ice. Maybe some packed ice as well, just to like change things up a little bit. And we'll also want, lacking it, some water. We'll also want to grab ourselves some bone meal, and we will also need some, oh, where are you? We need some spruce saplings, and should they not grow, we will also need some dirt. Perfect. So, somewhere out in front of the front left-hand part of the igloo, we want to have a netherrack surrounded by dark oak wood stairs. The dark oak wood stairs don't connect together on the corners, they just kind of like form a little plus shape. We'll light that netherrack with flint and steel. That's wonderful. We want to have some packed ice, kind of like leaving a trail coming out in front of the igloo. Now, this trail can be like as thick or as thin as you want, but the trail is, it just kind of shows that you like people walk in and out of the igloo. I mean, it can be a little bit wider than that, it can be a bit shorter. I quite like that as it is. What I have out in front of the front rightish part of the igloo is I have a little bit of a frozen pond. So, you know how like Eskimos and stuff like go ice fishing? Well, we just want a little bit of a frozen pond. And we just want to surround that pond with some ice. Now, I'm not using packed ice for this, I'm using regular ice, and maybe we just want to make that pond a bit of a different shape, maybe like this. And we're just going to have the regular ice surrounding it. It doesn't help that I actually have like a body of water to the right of me. I would like the pond a little bit further away, maybe a little bit bigger, but that's all I have to do. Is there's nothing wrong with this. It's pretty good like that. And we just have something which should look a little bit like that, and it just adds to the mood a little bit. And something else that adds to the mood is trees, specifically spruce saplings. So you can place a sapling down, and maybe not in that position, maybe a little bit further away from the fire, maybe in this position, and we can just grow some spruce trees around here, like surrounding the igloo. So maybe we'd want here as well. In total, I think I'm going to have about 6 trees. I don't actually need that many because we do have some spruce trees surrounding the igloo already. So I'm just going to place like one in the back middle, for example, and maybe like one on the back corner, and just in a few different positions, just to make sure that there's enough trees around. That's sand, isn't it? That's why we have the dirt. Wonderful. So we'll place that there. We'll grow that with bone meal, and we'll just want to have something which should look a little bit like that. Can you condense it a little bit more? Yes, you absolutely can. You can make the igloo. You can definitely make the igloo a little bit more surrounded by trees. You could have it a little bit more forest-like. You could have. Oh wow, that's actually freezing by itself. That's kind of cool. You can alter the pond, you can add more and more things outside of this, but this is what I designed. It's just a nice simple little starter igloo, a nice little simple snow house. And if you want, you can also mess about with the interior of your igloo. Now, I'm not actually going to do this on recording, so why don't I show you what I did to my original igloo? And I'll show you how much room you have and what you can do to mess about with the inside of your very own igloo. So this is the original version of my igloo house. As you can see, it's not particularly snowy in my current creative world, so I had to simulate a snow biome. If we look inside of this, you won't find too much of an artistic interior, but it does show you the sort of room that you're working with and how much you can actually stuff in here. So all we have in here, first of all, just want to mention the lighting. Love the lighting. I love the hanging glowstone effect with the nether brick fence. I think it looks amazing. Definitely gives kind of like a homely feel to any build that you do. We have a bed right up front and center with its own light source. This is kind of like an anglerfish themed bed. I really like this. It's not particularly creative, but it's not meant to be. I love this kind of bed. To the right here, we have a pretty decent looking fireplace. It should and could be made out of different materials, but the design is pretty solid, I think, and there's no reason that you couldn't just reskin it and it would look absolutely amazing. And to the left, we just have like a TV. I decided to put a TV and a nice little bit of a couch there, and that's pretty much all we have down here. It's pretty simple, there's not too much to it, but there's plenty of space here. If you wanted to turn this into a survival house, there's nothing stopping you. There's plenty of room. You could absolutely do loads of stuff with this. You could fit absolutely anything you wanted to in here, and it'd just be a nice little retreat in your snow biome that isn't that difficult to build and can be built out of pretty much anything. I definitely recommend snow. There is no lack of it in the snow biomes. Well, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you what sort of room you were working with in here. And by the way, I'd suggest making the floor out of either quartz or just leaving it as snow. Completely up to you. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. I really love this. I think it's so nice. It's so simple, and I really do love biome themed builds. It's so cool once you've got like a theme to build off of, and I think that the igloo is probably as iconic as you can get with the snow biome. It definitely makes sense here, and it definitely looks fantastic. Well, hopefully you guys like it. If you do, please give it a like, give it a favorite, give it a share, help the video out, help me out. I'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you had a bit of a look around in my creative world, you'll see that we do more than just biome themed builds around here. We do absolutely everything. There's a whole variety of builds, and I'm sure that you'd love it if you stuck around. Check out the card system, check out the description below. You're going to find wonderful examples of some of the other stuff that I've been up to. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like, favorite, share if you wouldn't mind, and I'll see you guys in the next video.